Good evening. We begin tonight with a story you'll only see on 12 News. A local business owner is being accused of stalking after a woman left a one-star review. Thanks for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kadiba Devine. Police say that the man that she hired to install cameras around her home sent taunting texts and filed false reports to the Department of Child Safety, triggering an investigation.
And tonight, that victim is talking exclusively to Kyle Simchuk about what her family has gone through.
They were supposed to provide peace of mind.
There's issues that are going on in the neighborhood, like car thefts.
Victoria Valdez hired Diamondback security cameras to install 8 cameras outside her Tolleson home. Owner Frank Escobel did the job himself, but Valdez wasn't happy with the end result.
The software, it kind of looked pixelated. It looked like Minecraft. When I brought these discrepancies up to him, he would start yelling at me.
So she left an online review.
Yeah, I did put a 1-star.
And says the owner responded with personal attacks.
He replied back to me and said that he had to go home and burn his clothes because my house was such a hoarding mess, and that I should be ashamed of myself because I have a child in the home.
It didn't end there. Several months later, a DCS worker showed up at her home to investigate a report of child neglect and filthy conditions.
I have a 14-year-old autistic son. He was worried that he would be taken from us.
DCS visited the home multiple times and found no evidence of neglect or unlivable conditions like the tip claimed. After each visit, often within minutes, Valdez received a text from an unknown number.
He said, "How did your visit go?"
But how would this person have known?
And the only logical conclusion that I could come up with is he's in my cameras. He's had access to my cameras.
DCS told Valdez to get police involved. According to court documents, detectives traced the original DCS report back to Escobel, who police say has a history of using fake numbers to harass women. The 59-year-old business owner was arrested last week and charged with felony stalking. Detectives say Escobel admitted to calling DCS and texting Valdez in retaliation for her 1-star review. He has since been released from jail. 12 News has been unable to reach Escobel for comment.
All I wanted was to have cameras for protection. It backfired.
In Tolleson, Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
Boy, how terrible. Kyle, thanks. Developing tonight in northern Arizona. Police say one person was shot at a grocery store in Kingman.
Yeah, it happened at a store along Stockton Hill Road in the central part of the city. Kingman police tell us that the victim was rushed to an area hospital and is in serious condition. A suspect has been taken into custody. We're working to learn more about what led up to the shooting. Officers say that there is no longer a threat to the public.
Also tonight, we have multiple updates on Glendale shootings that happened last night. Let's start at a mobile home park near 55th Avenue in Missouri. Police have identified the man and woman found dead after an apparent murder-suicide in Glendale as 53-year-old Ana Osorio and 36-year-old Alvaro Rodriguez. Police say they were in a relationship, but there's no word on who shot who or what led to the shootings.
And the construction worker who was shot after a fight with another construction worker yesterday near State Farm Stadium has died. He's been identified as 47-year-old Timothy Ted McFarland. The co-worker who shot him reportedly called 911 and waited for officers to arrive. Police say that this shooting could have been prevented if stricter job site rules were in place.
The man accused of brutally murdering a New River pastor says he now wants to plead guilty in exchange for life in prison. Adam Schief previously asked for the death penalty, but his attorneys say he had a change of heart after his father and stepmother were killed in a plane crash. Schief has admitted in media interviews to murdering 76-year-old Bill Shainman, who was found crucified in his home last year. Prosecutors say that any deal has to go through a review process and get input from the victim's family. The county attorney is set to review the request. Schief previously pleaded not guilty after his arrest in Coconino County. Since then, he's filed to represent himself and said in court that he wants to move the case forward quickly, citing closure for both himself and the victim's family.
A landfill fire in Surprise is still burning tonight, and it's expected to produce visible smoke throughout the entire weekend. It started at a recycling plant around 7 o'clock this morning near Deer Valley Road and 195th Avenue and quickly grew as the day went on. Sky 12 there showing you scenes from the crews with multiple departments working to battle that fire. Surprise Fire Department says that it could take some time to fully put out.
We do expect that we're going to be out here for a long time, definitely through the night tonight and until tomorrow. based on the amount of volume of fire that's there, it's very difficult for our crews to access the fire because of the partial building collapse. So right now we're in the mode of protecting some of the outside areas, and then we'll have to get heavy machinery, start pulling everything apart to be able to get to the seat of the fire.
No injuries have been reported, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Meanwhile, as smoke drifts into the area, firefighters are urging nearby residents to keep their windows closed. And amid the damage, crews were able to safely rescue a cat from the debris during the early stages of the fire. The cat is now being cared for as crews work to find it a new home.
So let's bring in meteorologist Chris Dunn. And Chris, we see that thick black smoke coming up from that fire. How does that affect our air quality?
Well, the good news, Mark, is that the wind is blowing a lot of that smoke away from the most densely populated areas of the valley. This is a radar loop that goes back some 6 hours or so. And during the start of this loop, right up here, you can see this is where the smoke is. The radar is actually detecting some of that smoke from the landfill fire. And it's all going that way, up towards Lake Pleasant, Anthem, and New River area. So not blowing into Phoenix. The predominant wind direction will be out of the west and southwest, continuing to blow that smoke up to the north. Calm winds in Anthem right now, 6-mile-per-hour winds in Sun City, and it's blowing 13 miles per hour at Luke Air Force Base. We'll keep track of that fire throughout the course of the weekend, of course. 90 degrees today. We were above normal. 87. Tomorrow will be normal and way below normal coming up on Sunday with some weather changes moving in. 66 tonight, mainly clear skies. 87 tomorrow as clouds move in. And only 80 degrees on Sunday with a breezy day on the way. I'll outline everything, show you how it's all going to shake out coming up with Futurecast and your weather impact forecast.
All right, Chris, we'll see you then. The Trump administration has made a historic move to reclassify medical marijuana as a Schedule III drug.
So, first of all, this doesn't legalize marijuana at the federal level, but for the first time, it's being acknowledged as a medical product.
12 News journalist Tiani Janalang is joining us now in studio with how this affects users and businesses here in Arizona. Tiani?
Krabe, Mark, this decision moves marijuana out of the same classification of drugs like heroin and LSD. Experts say, unlike before, this now makes space for additional medical studies and innovation in the marketplace.
On Thursday, the U.S. Attorney General signed an order officially reclassifying medical marijuana. This means both FDA-approved products containing marijuana and products regulated by a state-issued medical marijuana license now fall into the Schedule III category. And experts with the Arizona Dispensaries Association say this creates more opportunity for medical marijuana patients.
You're probably going to see a lot more innovation in the marketplace because there's going to be more focus on the medical program again. And then also it's going to allow for additional medical studies.
According to the DEA, Schedule III drugs are defined as drugs with a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. And while this decision doesn't federally legalize the drug, it does deliver a major win for cannabis businesses on taxes. Under the old classification, dispensaries were blocked from taking standard business deductions, leaving them exposed to much higher tax rates.
The operators will still continue to operate as they have from a functionality standpoint, minus the fact that they're no longer treated as a drug dealer or the manufacturer of illegal drugs from a federal perspective. They'll be able to take standardized business deductions that they couldn't.
According to experts, this change will only affect medical marijuana. It does not change anything for recreational use or for CBD products. But in the scientific community, experts say this is still a landmark moment.
Doing research on a Schedule I substance was really hard. It's really hard to get the research that was necessary to prove the medicinal value. As a Schedule III substance, I think a lot of those barriers will be taken down. So in the medical scientific community, mostly positive.
Moving forward, the Department of Justice is set to evaluate any broader changes to marijuana at a federal level in a hearing later this year. That hearing is scheduled to begin on June 29th. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadaling, 12 News.
All right, Tiani, thank you.